All right. It's already started. I'm already talking. Welcome to Puro Pinche Sports. I'm your host, Jose Garza, and I am here with my buddy, my broski, Arturo Ibarra. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, but I think your internet's failing now.
What?
Yeah, you started cutting off. Like you just went into a robot mode right now.
Oh no. Oh no. Terrible, terrible start. I'm Jose Garza. Arturo Ibarra. Okay, pretty much the gist of it. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing good, man. Taking a little break from work just to come back and join you for an episode that we've been moving up since Monday. We were supposed to be doing this episode on Monday, and it's been going like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday,
I mean,
maybe Friday.
It stuff happens. You're right. Maybe Friday. Wink, wink, Jesse. Maybe Friday. Nah, man. It's just, parenthood for one. We're husbands. We're dads. We're employees. we're busy as fuck. So it tends to happen. Sometimes the schedules don't mix until ends up being a good Friday, and maybe some people have the days off and some people don't. But we'll see. But anyway, man, what's been going on? What you big on right now as far as with sports and anything going on?
No, man. With work and everything, it's been kind of hard to keep track of what's going on. But with the NBA, I know last time the NBA playoff run has begun. There's the bracket right now, the championship or whatever they want to call it, that's going on right now.
Playing tournament.
For Spurs, they got they made it. At least they made it, unlike the Lakers. But
this is true. They made it far enough to play in. But yeah.
So yeah, we got that. Also, some new signings from the NFL. Some things moving in around. New comments. The great fights that happened last weekend. So it's been a good week. Keeps you entertained and everything.
Well, so let me ask you. You are Chicago, fan through and through. Bulls, Bears, maybe Cubs, White Sox. I don't know.
I'm wearing a Cubs hat.
Hey, I don't know, man. Sometimes you might have both. Whatever. I don't know.
I do have both, but I'm a Cubs fan.
Oh my gosh! See, proves my point. But anyways, I'm going to ask you real quick since we can touch up on the NBA playoffs coming up since the playing tournament ends today. How are you feeling right now about the Bulls?
I think they're good. They're strong. They started the season strong and everything. They had some injuries then and there. Now some players are kind of am I going to play during the season? Am I not going to play? So I think they're good. I know there's some friction right now going on with the Adam Levine kind of news that are coming out or gossips with with Zach Levine. My bad.
I'm thinking Maroon 5. You don't sing. This man don't sing.
No, but with some of the things that are kind of coming out and saying, whether they think that he may play or he's not going to play, or whether he may get traded or something like that. So, they look great. I think they have a pretty good chance at keep going, moving up the ladder, but we'll see if they're in the game, if their head is in the game whenever the actual playoff picture starts to happen. But it will be nice to see them in the series. That would be interesting.
You do got the Bulls going up against the Bucks. That's gonna be a tough matchup against the defending champions. Because even if the Bucks don't have the best record, they're still gonna be one of the toughest teams to try to get out of the playoffs. Giannis is just an animal, no matter what you do, no matter what happens. He's a freak, man. The Greek freak is an animal. So, we'll see how that goes. I know Zach Levine's a free agent after this year. What are your feelings on him actually sticking around?
He may stay. He's not a bad player. He hasn't been playing bad. It's just, is Chicago willing to pay him? And I think him and DeRozan get a good connection. We've seen games where both of them are scoring over 40 points. So there's good ball movement in the secondary as well as the initial team. So we'll see who they decide to keep, who decides to leave, if he decides to sign again. So
I think the team was so big, like so good. Like we were talking about it early in the season, even prior to when we went to the Spurs Bulls game. How big that connection they had with DeRozan, Levine, Lonzo Ball, and Alex Caruso, and then just the rest of the unit. They were really balling, and then Ball's injury kind of like really deflated the team. I mean, Caruso got hurt too with the whole Grayson Allen thing, um, but I was just wondering, like, at this point, do you think like the organization gives them one more shot, like maybe gives a max 1 year for Levine, and then, or you think he's just on his way out?
I mean, I don't see why they shouldn't. This was the first year with DeRozan and Caruso and kind of Ball having that chemistry with Levine as well. So I don't see why they don't try to go up for another run at it. I mean, Bulls haven't made a run in a good time. Maybe they'll trade him for someone else. I mean, they can't trade him, but maybe they'll sign someone else. But I mean, if it goes well and they make it to the series, I think that if they make it past the Bucks and they get in a good series play run, then I would say why not? Give them another chance to do it. I have seen some polls going around Instagram and social media where they're having the Bulls winning over the Bucks. So I see that really interesting to happening, but it's not unlikely that it could happen. We've seen other better teams kind of say bye whenever they're playing in the role, or they just get swept.
Yeah, for sure. So let me ask real quick, since we're going to talk about the playoffs, we can start predictions right now. Who's winning, Bucks or Bulls, and how many games?
I'm gonna go with the Bucks. I'm gonna go with the Bulls winning.
Okay, going for the upset.
Yeah, I think I'm going for the upset. I'm gonna stick with my team. I'm gonna stick with the Chicago team, but I think it's gonna be a good series where they're gonna go. What do you say, 4-3?
Best out of seven, yeah. So you think?
Yeah, I think we're gonna have the same thing that happened last season, where the better games or the better brackets were at the beginning of the tournament, of the playoffs, and then kind of getting to those teams where it's a little bit more of a dark horse that's playing for the NBA championship. But I think it is going to be best of 7 on 4-3.
Nice sense. I got the Bucks in 6. I think that one is just more. I'm giving a respect to the Bulls for what they've done. DeRozan has balled out this year for sure. Definitely a step up from everything he learned with the Raptors and the Spurs. Unfortunately, right now with them injury plagued, right now I'm just not going to give it to him. I really can't. I can see this going 5 games, but I mean, I'm going to give it a respectful 6. So I think the Bucks advance. All right, so next series we could talk about really that is kind of probably the biggest one in the East, other than the Bucks and the Bulls. Because I think this is a little bigger. It's going to be the Celtics and the Nets. What are your feeling on it? Because I know the Nets have had a lot of controversy this year with the whole James Harden didn't want to stick around, Kyrie, his whole COVID status, his vaccination status, sorry, and then KD's injuries and stuff like that. So they're now the 7th seed. They won their playing game. So what are your thoughts on that series?
I mean, whether Kyrie played or not, and they kind of kept him just healthy over the whole season because he couldn't play because of the whole COVID thing. If they're doing this because like, hey, he's healthier in case Durant gets hurt or in case someone else gets hurt from those main key players that they have in that roster,
right?
I don't see why the Nets couldn't beat the Celtics up. I'm not saying the Celtics are bad or anything. They've been able to pull some good numbers in some games on their favor, but
respectfully, they should be the favorite.
I think the Nets are going to take them.
Yeah, I agree. I think respectfully, they should be the favorites, and that's because one, you have the championship pedigree in Kevin Durant, regardless of what you think about his whole going to Golden State and free agency. People can call him a cupcake, but you know what? He still ended up becoming the 2 times Finals MVP, right? So it is what it is. I mean, he knows how to win. At least now he knows how to win. So we'll see. I mean, I got the Bucks, the Nets in 6 as well. I think that's going to be a fantastic series. I love the Celtics, defensive game now since they got Derek White, adding it as a backup to Marcus Smart. I mean, it's fantastic. Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum passing the ball more, passing the rock, getting the team flowing more. They came from the bottom up, so good for them. I think this would be a great series. I'm not mad at any team that wins between these two teams, but I think the Nets just have a little more firepower than the Celtics, though. But we'll see how that goes. And then the last game that we have for sure established right now in the East. What do you got for what is it? The Sixers versus Raptors? Oh, and mind you, I think it's Maxey from the 76ers. He can't travel to the Raptors home games because he's not vaccinated, and Canada's strict as fuck with that.
I think the Sixers take it, and
So-
they'll probably take it to either. I think they might take it on the sixth game, 4-2, and I think it's gonna be on. They're gonna win the at-home games. I think that's gonna be the key thing for them since some of their players can't travel.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Sixers, but I'm gonna say in 5. I'm not trying to like be disrespectful to the Raptors, but I think Joel Embiid, being the powerhouse that he is, and then if James Harden in good enough shape and then he's in good health, I mean, he should be able to stomp the floor with the Raptors defense.
I mean, isn't Harden playing right now? I've seen that step back happening.
Yeah,
Freaking Embiid, man. Right after Harden joined that team, he tried to pull that step back. It didn't work out. It was a travel, but hey, he got better at it.
That's what happens when you have super long legs, and they could definitely keep up with your slow ass. But Embiid's a beast. Hey, by the way, who do you have? I mean, have you been watching enough games? Like, who do you have for the MVP? Because I know there's discussions between like Embiid and the Joker and stuff like that.
I think the way that they've been playing.
Apparently, Texas is voting for Doncic to get the fucking title, but I'm not giving it to him.
So I like Doncic, but to me, he's not a bad player, but he's not the captain of the team. Like, he doesn't drive the team in the sense of like, I think he gets like hot-headed a lot, and
Well, that's a fact.
he has fun playing and everything. He's a great player. Like, I like his style of playing, but I don't see him as a captain because of that hot-headedness that he gets. The fact that he gets fouled, like he has 17 or 15, is it 17 technical fouls?
He's got 15 technical fouls. He doesn't. So that was only regular season stuff. That doesn't affect the playoffs.
Right, but that's like 15 technical fouls, man. Like, you have to go through the whole season, and it's not the first season that he does it.
No, he's hot-headed for sure. He's very emotional.
So to me, it's like, I think Embiid is a better team player, and he's a better driver of the team. And say, you know what, let's stay composed. So I would give it to him.
You don't think Jokic deserves a back-to-back?
Not this year. I think I like Embiid better, and I liked Embiid better last year. But I see a lot of the qualities that the Joker had last year. I see them on Embiid now. So that's why I would give him to Embiid this year, because I feel like he's improved from last year to be the most valuable player now.
Okay.
That would be my take on it.
Yeah, I mean, right now, overall, just like powerhouse and stuff like that, I tend to agree with you with Embiid. But I think Joker will take it just for like the stats that the freaking voters love to go for. But yeah, I agree. I think Embiid is just the guy. I mean, he's just taking a huge step, and we don't know how much longer he has the ability to do this, right? Because he is sometimes injury prone. His body's just going to deteriorate, over time. The more he grinds on the court and everything like that. So we'll see. All right. We know right now the Cavaliers are beating the Hawks, but they're only up by 6 right now. So who do you got winning that game? And then who do you got winning between the winner of this game versus the number 1 Miami Heat?
I think the Cavs will pull that upset against the Hawks. I like Trae Young and everything, but I feel the same way about Trae Young as I feel about Luka. They get hot-headed at the last minute.
Are you thinking more of these guys that are more like solo type of guys, ISO players that are really like, are they not your cup of tea?
No, I like that kind of player. Like I said, I like the way that they play. It's just when it gets to driving the team to a playoffs and like actually winning, I don't see them winning the game by themselves. And we saw that with the Hawks last season. They were great and everything, but whenever they get in that mindset of I'm the best and I'm the one and I'm gonna do this,
They got a
it
lot of
doesn't work.
upsets though. They got a lot of upsets last playoffs. So that was crazy. I did not think they'd get past the Sixers.
No,
And they
and
did.
that's the thing. Like whenever whenever he gets his head right, they're unstoppable. But it's the same thing that happened with the Suns. Like they had to get Chris Paul in that for him to keep his cool and drive that team. So that's the thing. I'm not taking any of the credit from Devin Booker, but it's you have to stay composed, and one simple solid player in that team does not work if you're going to get hot headed.
No, that's
So
true. I mean, and besides, you don't really got a real solid number two with a bunch of these teams. You know, you saw Kristaps Porzingis not play effectively for the Mavs, and he got traded away. John Collins, I guess you could argue, is the second best player for the Hawks. So
we saw
we'll
that
see
with
how
Butler. But when Butler was at the
So you got okay. So let me ask you that because since you said the Cavs, who do you got winning between the Cavs and the Heat?
Heat,
Okay, by how much? How many games? 6,
I
7?
think they'll take it in. I think they'll take it in 6. I don't think they'll go the full thing, just because Butler has something to prove to his team, just because of some of the things that are being rubbing off. But he's the hot-headed one, and there's other key players in that team that hey, I'll keep cool. You can do whatever you want. I'll still cool. Just make sure you play for the team.
So if I had to assume that the Cavs win, right, because they're up right now. You know what, man? I really want to say the Cavs upset the Heat. I really do in 7 games. I think if the Cavs win tonight, they beat the Heat in 7.
Without LeBron,
That might sound crazy. It sounds insane, but I love what this Cleveland Cavaliers team has done to step up to this point, like to go this far. Like they were a higher seed earlier in the season, right? But obviously injuries and stuff like that makes them
do
fall.
you think they're
Now
the?
that they got Jared Allen back, I mean, dude, I think him, Darius Garland, that's the squad altogether. Like, I'm gonna actually give it to Cleveland, bro. I'm gonna give Cleveland the win over the Heat in 7, and I think it'd be fucking awesome story. Like, in the
So you
Heat,
think they're the Hawks of the season?
not the Hawks. I think they win one series, and then after that, because they're talking about then afterwards they have to play the 76ers for the most part, maybe.
Which
So
they could. They could put the offset.
I'm gonna say Cleveland. I'm gonna say Cleveland wins this game right now, and then they go on defeat 7. So
Okay,
that's
I like
that's
that.
mine. So all right, let's go to the West real quick. Pelicans playing the Clippers tonight, but they have no Paul George, no Kawhi Leonard. Who wins? I'm gonna tell you right now, Pelicans is gonna win. That's
I
my
mean
vote.
Zion is back, so they have a good.
Nope, Zion's not playing.
Is he not playing this game?
He's not playing. The team. So he's having that same issue as Kawhi did with the Spurs. Like he says he's ready to play, but the medical team says no. So I'm gonna say CJ McCollum plus Brandon Ingram is strong enough to make the Pelicans beat the Clippers at LA, and then they'll play the freaking fucking who's the number 1 team in the West? I already forgot. It's not Memphis. It's not Golden State. Who is it? Fucking Art. Tell me.
The Grizzlies?
No, it's not Memphis. God, why am I slipping right now? This is a headache.
The Jazz?
It's not the Jazz. What the fuck? Why are we both wrong? Why do we not know this answer before we even fucking talk? I'm over here like botching before we even begin.
Not the
Sunday's
Suns.
It is the Suns. It is the Suns, the number 1 team. Suns will win that one. I think the Suns will sweep whoever they play. I'll say 5. I'll be nice. I'll say 5. Gentleman sweep. But fuck, I should not have taken that long to fucking figure it out. Chris Paul, man. Devin Booker, respect.
Yeah, I can see that.
So who do you got winning? Clippers or Pelicans?
I think and it's a 1 game, right? It's not a series because it's a playing tournament.
It's right now. Who wins?
I think the Pelicans are gonna take it, but damn.
And then the series, Suns.
I think the Pelicans take it.
Okay, Suns versus Pelicans.
Oh no, the Suns.
Okay, how many games?
I think they're gonna do a short one, so I think it's gonna be at the most 5.
As well.
Yeah.
Okay. I hope the Suns in 4 guy comes back and he's like, Suns in 4, Suns in 4. All right. After that, we should have Grizzlies versus Timberwolves. Give me that one. Give me your prediction for that one. Ja Morant versus Anthony Edwards and
Grizzlies.
You think? Oh, okay. You picking Grizzlies? Okay. How many games?
I think Morant gets it back. I think the same thing, 4-5.
I'm gonna say Timberwolves.
Dang.
I'm gonna go Timberwolves in 6. And I'm gonna say it's because Morant sometimes struggles against them, and they have the more star power. Like if you think about it, you have a pesky Patrick Beverly, you got Anthony Edwards, sophomore year. You got Carl Anthony Towns when he actually plays, unlike in the playing game, he's a beast, right?
Yeah.
So if you can get those three to lead the team and fucking do the shit that they need to do, I'm gonna give it to the Timberwolves, honestly, because Ja Morant can't do it all on his own. And it's not saying because he's cocky or he's bad or anything like that, right? But with the same explanation you're going by Luka and by Trey, he might not just be able to lead the team to all those victories that you want him to.
But I think he is
He's in the MVP conversation, by the way. So, but I'm gonna go Timberwolves. Shocker.
But I think he has a little bit more of a composed head than the other two.
Oh, for sure. That's what I'm saying. It's not any of those things that you were saying about those guys.
If he's gonna do it by himself, yeah, I see where you're coming from. I can see that happening. But that's gonna be a crazy upset though.
It'll be entertaining as fuck. Okay. Warriors or Nuggets? Nuggets, really? Well, how many games? You're going with the upset?
6.
6 games. Okay. What's the main reason for that one? They still don't have Jamal Murray back, and they don't have Kevin Porter Jr.
Is Curry back now?
Curry will be back, yes.
Really? I thought he was out.
He'll be good to go.
I'll give it to
Stick with your gut.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick to the Nuggets just because for some reason every time that Curry is hurt and he comes back from injury, yes, he drops a crazy amount of points, but they don't seem to win. They don't seem to be on the same page as Curry. Curry plays whenever he comes, it's like he's on his own world. Yes, they do have Klay Thompson, but it seems that they kind of friction with each other whenever they kind of come back in. And I'm not saying friction in the pissed off way. I'm saying friction in the sense of their offensive plan doesn't work because I feel like Thompson plays to Curry.
Clay's not fully 100% since the Achilles and ACL tear. I'll be honest, but I'm gonna stick with the Warriors. I think the championship pedigree, what they've gone through to win championships before, what they've done in the playoffs, I think I'll give it to them. I'll give Warriors in 6. I think they'll just overwhelm the Denver Nuggets personally. All right. And Art, I think that's the last one before we move on to the next topic. We can talk about it is the Jazz at Mavericks, and Luka Doncic is going to be out the first game for sure.
Mavs.
You're breaking Mavs, or you thinking Mavs?
Nah, I'll give it to the Mavs.
Mavs by how many games? Without Luka, game 1, possibly game 2.
They're gonna go to 6.
So what? I mean, they lose the first 2 games without Luka, then they win after Luka comes back.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna give Jazz in 6. I'm gonna pick Jazz in 6. I think, Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert, they'll make it work to somehow, and they'll. You say yourself, Luka's destructive in his own mind. Sometimes he might not be the right guy to get you over the hump for some things. And I think, Quinn Snyder is going to be perfect coach to go against Luka. So I'm gonna go with the Jazz on this one. But all right, that's our predictions for the first round of the playoffs. I mean, hopefully everything else turns out well. Let me look at the dang score right now. Let me see what's the update. Cavaliers only up by 4, so we'll see how that goes. Anyways, Art. So this past weekend was UFC 273. You saw it on Saturday. I saw it on Sunday. we'll just talk about briefly the three main fights. Let's start with the biggest one that I think, or what I consider the biggest one, and that was Hamzat Chimaev defeating Gilbert Burns by decision. Was it split? It was unanimous decision. Sorry.
I thought it was split.
No, that was the co-main event. It was unanimous. All three judges gave it to Hamzat.
The co-main event. Yeah.
Aljamain Sterling versus Peter Yan. Peter Yan.
Yeah, they did the split decision there.
Yeah, so all three judges said Hamzat won the fight. Give me your thoughts on that, because we were going a little back and forth talking about that fight.
So I think out of everyone who's fought Makovich, I think Burns gave him the best fight.
You mean Chimaev?
We're talking about the co-fight, or we're talking about the third fight of the night?
The third fight. You said Makovich. Yeah. I was like, who's Makovich?
Then
it's Hamzat Chimaev. Are you thinking Islam Makhachev?
Yeah.
No, he didn't fight. Islam Makhachev.
Am I confused? Then I'm probably confusing them, but
you're confusing Makhachev and Chimaev.
I mean, they both have beard.
Okay, well, what's your thoughts on Chimaev versus Burns?
So I know that we had talked about and there's a lot of talk around saying, like, if he won, he was gonna get up to the title fight. Like, he was gonna get that title fight, because I believe he's undefeated right now, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
So I think out of all the fights that he's had, I think Burns is the only one that has actually put up a good fight. And a lot of people said that Burns should have gone out on the first round, second round at the most. And I think he brought it to him on that second round and then the third round. On the third round, yes, he was a little bit off his feet, but I think both of them just went at it on the third round. And I think that's the one that we're kind of disagreeing on, where it kind of swayed. I know the first round, Burns did not have control of the fight. On the second one, he controlled the second round. On the third round, I gave it to Burns just because of how he brought that fire at the end of it. Even though he did get hit pretty hard and he stumbled, he did land some good shots at the end, which did the exact same thing. So if we're comparing it, I would have given it to Burns just because of that. But it goes back to my same comment with you about how the championship fights get decided. It's for something like that, when you're undefeated, man, they're not going to give you the fight unless you knock them out. And he had a good couple of chances where he should have gone down, but he was stunned at the same time. So I gave it to Burns. I gave it 1-2. So that was my take on that.
So here's how I saw it. Because
you saw it with your eyes.
I saw it with my eyes. I saw it with all four of my eyes. So Burns came out in the fight timid. Like, the first round, he just didn't look like himself, like the guy who had gone out for his championship fight. Like, almost like he was maybe too worried of what Hamzat does, because of what Hamzat had done before. Mind you guys, Hamzat Chimaev has only been hit one time in his 4 fights in the UFC. One time. That means he destroyed and dominated all his other opponents prior to fighting Gilbert Burns, which, mind you, Gilbert Burns gave a great fight. I'm not taking that away from him. So Hamzat won round 1. Round 2, absolutely Burns. Fucking dropped him a few times. Fucking powers. I mean, left him a fucking beauty mark that probably will never go away from Hamzat Chimaev. But the reason I gave the third round to Chimaev and not Burns, I think why the judges agreed, is because Chimaev was piecing him up and Burns was kind of letting him. Maybe he was like a little gassed because, he's a very big, stocky dude. But Chimaev was tagging him up for 3 minutes straight without really anything responsive. And then Burns started turning it on. And I think because he controlled the first 3 minutes and then they were kind of going back and forth, so 50-50 there, I think that's where me and the judges all agreed that it was Chimaev who took 1 and 3 without any questions asked. It wasn't a big controversy. Now, mind you, if we had championship rounds in this fight, if they had signed a 5-round contract, I think it might be a different story. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing this fight again. I don't think anybody would mind seeing.
Do you think they would have gone the 5 rounds though? Or do you think they would?
I
You
think
think
these
we're gonna?
I think these two guys' fucking chin was on point tonight that night, and they were not going to drop. Maybe they're going to go all the way to decision, and then you could really tell a story. But I don't really feel like Chimaev was slowing down. I think he took a back seat in the second round when he got dominated by Burns for the most part. Mind you, he was still landing some strikes, but Burns definitely won the second round. But Chimaev was more composed, like I said, and he wasn't gassed, but and he, like I said, like the first 3 minutes, it just looked like it was all him without any like Burns was kind of leaning on the cage, moving side to side, like trying to get away, and then he started turning it on like after he looked up at the clock, and he was like, okay, maybe I need to like turn it on right now.
And I think he did that just for the same reason that the second round went his way. Like he was probably gassed from that second round just the same way that the other guy was gassed from the first round. So he tried to maybe hold himself to capitalize at the end of the round. But no, I see your point though, and I think don't
get me
for
wrong,
3 minutes of it.
Burns landed the most shots. Like, don't get me wrong, even in the third round. Like, if you're looking at per stats, like even right now, I'm seeing it right now. Burns landed 45 out of 68 shots, while Hamzat hit only 44 out of 94. So he was more precise. He did more, but I think it was just the timing. Like, you're just looking, like if you're looking at how much time it took for Burns to like turn it on, that's gonna be a big factor no matter what, because sometimes the judges don't have the stats in front of them, right? They're just seeing Hamzat controlling most of that round and most of that fight. I think if Burns had dropped him in the third round, I think that he would have stolen it.
So do you think, and this is I guess where we're gonna bring up one of the past episodes where some people call some people out on how, like, what do you think counts? Like for boxing, like it's counted by the stats and how many hits you land and how many hits you throw and blah, 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 and all that. Do you think UFC should be doing the same thing for something like this?
So boxing's different. And the reason is because you lose a point and you're pretty much automatic lose a round when you get knocked down, right? Like it's an automatic and then the 10 count starts. And MMA, you have to judge by eyes only. You can't judge by stats and stuff like that because one, the stats don't come fast enough. One, you move a lot more faster than you do in boxing, right? Like you got to account for the takedowns. You got to account for punches. You got to account for strikes, where they landed, were they significant, or were they just like regular shots, right? You got to go for submission attempts, submission escapes. You got to do a lot of other stuff. So you have to go by immediate eyeball test. And that's why they debating, like, how do we fix this scoring decision stuff? So I think overall, they do need to fix it. Maybe try an open round or open scoring, I should say. But in the meantime, I think there's nothing wrong like with what they did. So like if you're talking about the debate me and Marco had. So guys, check that out. That was I forgot what episode that was.
It was one of the first episodes.
It was the first video on YouTube, guys.
Yep.
So there you go. That's the first one we have on YouTube. That's the debate me and Marco had, and it was a great debate. And we'll
look at the comments.
Enjoy the comments. But overall, guys, like I think you have to go because, and to give you guys an example, what Art's talking about, Marco was saying that Max Holloway did more damage. He probably did. As far as physical damage, he probably did more damage. But the problem was it went to a decision. So most of that damage did in the first 2 rounds, which he got scored for, right? That's the whole criteria when it comes to decision. The later 3 rounds, they were points for Volkanovski, and that's why Volkanovski won. And that's how the judges saw it, right? And overall, when you look at the stats afterwards, after they calculate everything, Volkanovski stat-wise won the fight. In this case, like I'm telling you right now,
it's the opposite.
Well, I'm telling you, he landed 1 less punch than Burns, right? But again, it's those 3 minutes of control,
right? If
Burns didn't take those 3 minutes off to get energy back, I don't think he loses that round, and he doesn't lose the fight. So that's a major factor too. Like, can you really sit around for 3 minutes and not do anything? No, you can't. And that's the downside. Like at that point, you're leaving it up to the judges, and that's on your fault, right? That's your fault.
Yep.
And that was my argument with Marco too. Is like, Max took his foot off the gas, and he lost it at that point. But To each his own, right? Everyone has disagreements on that. But Hamza's supposed to fight Colby Covington next. That's what Dana White wants to do. He's not going to give him a title shot. He's going to give him Colby Covington. What are your thoughts on that possible matchup?
I think Covington needs to get his mouth shut, man. And I think this is a good way to do it. I'm not saying he's a bad guy. He's a good fighter. It's just, to me, it's like it gets to the point of like, all right, you're talking too much smack that.
And are you really surprised that Jorge Masvidal smacked them at a Miami restaurant or outside?
It's one of those things like, you talk so much smack, which is shit and smack put together.
Schmack, we say, schmack.
But like, you're talking so much crap about it, and then you're surprised of like why someone jumps at you at the bar or at a restaurant, outside a restaurant, because you're calling out their family. And then I understand that that's his persona, like, oh yeah, let me be this loud guy, make America great kind of thing. That's
Miami.
Yeah, that's his character. But yet again, this is not WWE, man. Like, this is the UFC. Like, I'm not saying he doesn't back up his fighting, because he does, or he doesn't back up his words. But it's like, it gets to the point, it's like, dude, just fight. Like, just fight. And there were a couple instances on that Masvidal fight where Masvidal was taking the fight to him, and Colby, and he was just kind of retreating. So to me, it's like, like putting against someone that's gonna shut his mouth and is gonna make him, like, this is me. I have to.
Hamza will be able to fight him on the ground. Like that'll be fun. That'll be a fun matchup between Hamza and Colby. I think obviously if Hamza wins, he deserves a title shot. Colby, I still question, because Colby's already lost twice to Usman. It just doesn't make sense for him to get another one. But I think
that would be a good fight though against Usman. Between
Hamza.
Yep,
that'd be fantastic. I'll personally say right now, I don't think Hamza's ready, but that just might be because he didn't have the greatest of fights. He had a huge step up in competition against Burns, but who knows? Maybe if he beats and TKOs Colby, maybe a different story. But we'll see. Let's move on to the co-main event. It's Aljo Sterling defeating Peter Yan by split decision to retain the UFC Bantamweight Championship. Art, these guys have had history. Yan got himself disqualified. That's how he lost the belt a year ago. They had the rematch. Sterling edges out the judges and wins the match. What are your thoughts on that fight?
I think Sterling won the fight, period. After the comments where they ask whether, what's his name? I just drew a blank. Not Sterling, but the other guy. Yeah, right after they asked Yan, is like, oh, what do you think about the fight? Like, they gave it this round to this person, and the only round that you guys lost was the first round. Dude, like, the round that he said, oh, I won the first one, second and third and fourth, it's like, dude, all right, you're cocky, that's great. But let's be honest, you did not win those 2 rounds where he held control of you on the ground. Like, you couldn't do anything.
I think he said he won for sure 1, 4, and 5. Like I don't think he said he won.
At the end, he said like, "Oh no, I won those rounds." Or whether he said what you're saying is he called out those rounds that he was on the floor, that Sterling had control of him.
I might need to hear back. I didn't hear.
And I may be incorrect, but I do remember like there was no other way. Like, Sterling had control of the fight. He held you for 2 whole rounds.
Yeah,
like, on the ground. Like, you didn't even fight back. So how do you expect to come back and say, oh, I won the first round? The first round, I gave it to Sterling just because it was kind of back and forth, but Sterling tagged him. You could see his face after the first round where Yan got tagged. So if we're going at punches and like what landed, like, I gave it to Sterling that. The last round, Sterling got rocked out. So, but to me, I gave it to Sterling. And even the first one, like, after you hit him on the head with your knee and kicked him down, like, yes, I think he deserves a title shot just to kind of, say, hey, here you go, let's do it again. This is the second fight, but not like the next one. I think Sterling has won or earned the place to say, you know what, I'm going to call out someone else, which he did. So
yeah, he did. So if you've followed the podcast Twitter page, I mainly control it, of course. I will argue always
It
for
is
Aljo.
biased.
Yeah, right. I will argue for Aljo. Aljo did not get, everyone's like, oh, he's acting, he faked it, he took the title by, like, dude, have you ever been hit by a fucking knee, like open, not blocked, a straight knee strike to the head? Like that shit does not tickle. That shit hurts. And this is like, it happened in the 4th round of the fight. So he was already exhausted. He already had, he was already beaten up. And that fight, Peter Yan was destroying him. Like, there's no question about it. He was owning him in that fight. And then that knee strike that just made no sense to do. Like, why did you do it? So Jan eventually gets his rematch against Sterling after he won the interim title from he beat Sanhagen. And in the first round, I felt like he was wild. Can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you.
I'm not moving.
I know. I'm about to take a picture of this though, because this is hilarious.
All right, you hear me now?
ain't fun. Yeah, I can hear you, but it's black.
Okay, I don't know why I'm frozen. I have no idea.
You did not let me take a picture of it.
Well,
that was gonna be your new caller ID.
Wow, I don't even know why. I don't even know why I froze out. Okay, anyways, while this thing fixes up, I think the camera unplugged. I just think that Sterling looked better in the first round. Like, there was nothing wrong with what was going on in the fight. Oh, Jingo. In the first round, he hit the more accurate shots. He struck them more. I felt like Peter Yan was flailing a lot of his shots. Like, he was just like throwing a lot of haymakers. He was definitely pushing the pace, and Sterling wisely was being the counterproductive, the counter striker, and it worked for him. He got the more shots in. Peter Yan just for me was throwing a little more wild, and then obviously second and third round was all easily Sterling's. You could argue that those rounds because he controlled them. With the wrestling, he controlled them like a 10-8 rounds, like almost worthy, like, because he did absolutely nothing, like you said. All he did was trying to like defend submission holds, but that was really nothing. He was getting owned. So even if he did, let's say for example, Jan did win the first round, those second and third rounds should have been 10-8 scores because of pure domination. And and then that scorecard is still going to Sterling, regardless. So it really, like, but I mean, I don't think there needs to be a rematch or a trilogy fight between the two. Not anytime soon. Like I said, Sterling was taking a lot of flack online. I think y'all a bunch of idiots out there. Anybody who was giving him shit. Be honest with you, like, dead ass. Like, anyone who's like, oh, you deserve an Oscar for the fucking faking of the knee strike and you won the title that way. No, bitches, like, Peter Yan
got hit in the head.
Yes, and fucking his coaches were like, do it.
Good job,
with
good
the
job.
knee. And their fucking coaches clapping like, oh, and then they look at the head coaches like, oh, that's not good? You fucking idiots. No, Peter Yan deserves to lose that first fight, and he fucking lost the second one. He doesn't deserve a rematch. Fuck off. Enjoy your vacation, bro. Enjoy Cancun. Like, you don't get that shit. Aljamain Sterling, the Funk Master, fucking earned everything. And yeah, he lost rounds 4 and 5. Oh well, so what? You didn't do enough. Fuck that shit. It's just easy as that. Aljamain Sterling fought his ass off. He got the W. He's a champion, rightfully so. Now he owns 2-0 over Peter Yan. One by DQ, one by decision. And now who knows who will fight? He'll either fight TJ Dillashaw, who he called out afterwards, or actually he'll call out, and who he called out online, Jose Aldo. He'll fight one of those two guys, and that'll be great. Good for him. Move on. Peter Yan is in the rear view mirror. Peter Yan, you should have won the first fight. Made sure Aljamain Sterling never got this fucking hype. Ever. You should have won. But no, you got yourself as qualified, dumbass. All right, main event. Alexander Volkanovski, who we kind of were just talking about between the debate me and Marco had, defends his title over Korean Zombie and TKOs him in the 4th round. Your thoughts?
I was surprised.
Why?
From the Korean Zombies. Like, he did not look I mean, I know he's older, but he just didn't look. I don't know, like he looked psyched out on that first round. Like, it didn't look like him. That explosiveness that you always see, the the random hits or those he wasn't even throwing any haymakers. He was just getting tagged all along. And it just, to me, it felt like he did not want to be there. Like, not that he didn't want the title fight. It's just at that moment he looked like he didn't want to be there. Like he was just kind of fighting just because he showed up.
Did you think Zombie had a chance?
I honestly didn't think he was gonna win, but I thought he was gonna put up a fight. And I think that was the same thing that Volk kind of expected. He expected a fight, and the whole 5 rounds it was just Volk. Like Volk is an animal. He's a Australian kangaroo / crocodile / whatever other killing machine there's in Australia. But I feel like Volk expected a fight, and even his tweets afterwards and his posts are like, hey, I'm kind of like there, and Cejudo kind of calling him out. It's like, oh, well, you need to go through me, blah blah blah, and all that. But to me, it's like he expected a fight. I expected Zombie to at least give him a fight for the first 2 rounds, make it interesting.
Let me give you my thoughts on this one real quick, and I think we've seen Volkanovski have those wars with Max Holloway, those 2 5-round fights, so 10 rounds total. We saw him what he did versus Brian Ortega. That was a fucking hell of a fight.
Have you seen his interview about that fight afterwards? Like right before the fight that we're talking about, they interviewed him about the fight with Ortega. Okay. And they interviewed him at how he felt when he had him on that choke.
On the guillotine, right?
And he says, like Volk even says, like, I do not know how the heck I got out of that.
Oh yeah. He almost passed out.
Like he didn't say it like I was out of it. He's like, but at the end I just kept my composure and I just felt him kind of losing it up. He lost it. But
that's the fight of a champion. And that's the fight of a champion. That's why I have a lot of respect for Volkanovski. That's why I'll argue for him against Marco with the whole Max Holloway thing. I'll argue for him against anybody. Volkanovski, I'm okay
losing that bet.
Right? Eat that spicy ramen. At least you don't have to eat the chip. Fuck. Anyways.
I mean, there's still one more, isn't there?
Marco, eat it. Literally. Anyways, Volkanovski, dude, he's had wars. Like, you gotta understand, like, his speed is fucking almost unmatched. And no disrespect to Max, no disrespect to Ortega, but you see what he's done to them. He's pieced them up. And mind you, Max is the best fighter he has so far. So when they had that trilogy fight, that's gonna be fucking fantastic. But he pieced up Ortega. He pieced up Ortega. Like, we saw it. He owned him. Ortega. Volkanovski gave him the 5th round. But even that round where he was in danger, where he got caught with like 3 different submissions and he escaped, he still won those rounds because he was the more dominant fighter. He just got caught, but he was strong enough to escape. He was smart enough. He had all the skills. He had all the tools to do it. So he pieced those 2 up. And they're younger, right? They're younger, they're faster and stuff like that. They're better than Korean Zombie. For the people who don't remember, Ortega pieced up and destroyed Korean Zombie to earn himself that title shot against Volkanovski. So if you think that Ortega, who destroyed Zombie, then got destroyed by Volk, imagine now at that point, you remember that? Volk versus Zombie. Zombie never stood a chance because he can't match the speed. It has nothing to do with his age. He's only 35. So I'm not gonna say his age. But he can't match the speed of Volkanovski. That power behind the speed and the power, beautiful technique. Beautiful. Volkanovski pieced him up, and that's why Zombie lost all composure after the first few strikes. He wasn't expecting him to be that fast. He wasn't expecting him to be, caught off guard that quickly. And it just, he lost in his mind. Then he got destroyed the rest of the way. The 3rd round, he got saved by the bell. And the 4th round, as soon as he got rocked, Herbie said, fuck it, I'm not letting this happen. Yeah. Not today.
I expected a better fight from Zombie. And then him saying that he wanted to retire, that's why I meant, like, whenever he said, I'm thinking that this may be my possible last fight, that's why I'm saying that I did not feel like he was in the right mindset for that fight.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going into fights and you think of retirement, that's on you in the end. But I think either way, even if he was at 100% and everything, skill set wise, he can't match the speed of Volkanovski. He just can't. And no disrespect to Zombie, I think Zombie's a fun fighter. We've seen him have a lot of fun fights, but he's never been the guy. It was nice for him to get this title shot, for after his years service to the MMA world. After he did serve for the Korean Army for a few years, but it was the reason I didn't want to talk about this fight first is because it wasn't the one that I thought was gonna blow up the show. I always thought Hamza versus Burns was the best fight, and then after that, Sterling versus Yan, and it came out to fruition. Though that's exactly how it happened. What's next for Volkanovski? Henry Cejudo's coming out of retirement. He's jumping back into the USADA drug test pool, but he won't be able to fight for another 6 months. Does Dana White want to give him that, or would he rather see Volkanovski, who still looks fresh? He didn't really take that much damage. Give him Max Holloway? I think so. I think Max Holloway still goes up next. But what would you rather see, Art? Holloway versus Volk 3 or Volk versus Cejudo?
Nah, give him Holloway and then give him Cejudo after. Like, do you think he may lose against Holloway?
Holloway is honestly probably the best fighter in the featherweight division. He just his kryptonite just happens to be Volkanovski.
Exactly. So
I mean, I don't know. He has to finish Volk to win. Personally, that's what I think. If he doesn't defeat him by TKO or submission, I don't think he wins by decision. I just don't.
I think honestly, if it goes against Holloway, dude, I think Volk.
Because here's what happens: what if Holloway wins? You got to give Volk another shot. You got to make a forfeit because he's won the first two.
I would give it. I think I would give it just. Money wise, let's talk money wise. I will give it to Holloway. Give it to Holloway, and then give it to Cejudo if he wins. If not, then you just go Holloway and then go Volk and then you go Cejudo again. Or you're gonna go back and forth Holloway Volk until.
Well, I think Cejudo should go back to the bantamweight division instead of moving up just to move up. He has done nothing in the 145 division to earn a title shot. Honest, dead ass. He's just because he's been champion 2 of the weight classes, that doesn't mean there's an instant title shot. No offense to Henry Cejudo, he's not Conor McGregor. He doesn't command that kind of power. No disrespect. He doesn't. But Henry Cejudo's probably a better fighter for sure than Conor McGregor, but he doesn't earn that star power. He doesn't have that. Just because you're a cringy guy on Twitter doesn't mean you have that effect for everybody. That we want him back. We want him back so badly. So I think go against Sterling. Sterling then has 3 people he can possibly fight: Aldo, Dillashaw, Cejudo. And then on the other side, just make it Max Holloway versus Alexander Volkanovski 3. And if Max wins, make it Holloway Volkanovski 4. Because Volkanovski deserves a title shot immediately after. He's been a great champion. He's been a great champion. Your list right now for Volkanovski is I beat Max Holloway twice in title fights, Brian Ortega, and Korean Zombie. And then before that, he has some good fights too, like Jose Aldo on his list. So why not?
Would you give a fight to Ortega again?
Not anytime soon. Ortega needs to get a 3-fight win streak going. It didn't make sense that he got a title shot against Volkanovski after the Zombie win because he hadn't fought anybody in 2 years.
The only reason why that happened was because he had that, and then he got
Well, this is Ortega's resume. He had the loss against Holloway in 2018, and then doesn't fight again until 2021 against Korean Zombie, and then he gets the fight against Volkanovski. So he had 2 title fights and only 1 win in between. So I think he needs a 3-fight win streak before he gets another crack at the title.
Okay.
Personally. But otherwise, that's all I got. Well, do you have anything else? Anything else you want to talk about? Sports related, at least.
How was WrestleMania? I haven't listened to. Actually, we haven't hung out.
No, we haven't had a
WrestleMania, and I haven't had a chance to listen to the full podcast. But what was your experience on it? How'd you like it?
Dude, WrestleMania was beautiful. It was fantastic. It was the childhood dream, dead ass. I'd never gone to a WrestleMania event, and it was just fantastic. It was. Don't get me wrong. It could have been any stadium. It could be NRG, Cowboy Stadium, SoFi Stadium. It felt awesome, and the fact that I had friends who grew up watching it go, and they got to see it too. And my wife got to join me, and she was just gonna go there to like enjoy, like, possibly laugh at me for fun, right? All love though. Don't get me wrong, all love. But I think the whole experience, like, it was awesome, bro. Like, dead ass, like, to
Was
go
she more
to.
excited than you think, or nah?
I mean, she might not say it, but I think she became kind of a wrestling fan afterwards. Like, she didn't scream like, "Oh my god, I love it!" Like, but I think she ended up like loving the experience too. I don't know if she's gonna be like a full-time fan, but sometimes when I'm watching it here at the house, like Raw, SmackDown, she'll sit down and watch it too. So it's nice. I mean, I think like overall it was a fantastic experience.
How was the Diva show?
I got this little pin right here. Fucking amazing. Wait, what'd you say?
How was the Divas?
The women? Oh,
Huh?
they're great. The women had the best matches. The women had the best matches. Like, dead ass. Like, of the weekend, they had the best matches.
Wow.
Yep.
It does not surprise me.
Really? Now, but I mean, we'll hang out soon. But overall, like, yeah, the WrestleMania experience, fucking 10 out of 10. It was a great weekend.
I'm glad.
Now, my hotel sucked ass. Don't get a Motel 6, kids. Do not get a Motel 6. No matter how cheap you're trying to be, do not get a Motel 6. I'll tell you that right now.
That call out goes to some of our friends, some of our really, really good friends. Don't be cheap. Don't be cheap.
I was cheap
Spend
that
the money
weekend,
on
and it wasn't worth it. I was cheap that weekend. It was. Ooh, the Hawks took the lead. The Hawks took
right
the lead.
now.
Yeah, they're up by 3.
Eh,
Okay, so real quick, just in case the Hawks win. If Hawks win, who do you give the series to? Hawks or Heat?
I'm still gonna give it to the Heat.
Okay. I think the Hawks win. Yeah, I'll give it to the Heat. But I digress. All right. Well, I don't really got much more to say, man. I think this was a really good catch-up episode. I mean, it's been a while since we had you on. I definitely don't think you would have had much to say about the WrestleMania prediction or review takes. So it was nice to have you back on, brother. I mean, missed this. We have the draft, NFL draft soon, no?
Yes, we do.
When is the
It's
NFL
in
draft?
2 weeks.
Is it in 2 weeks? Okay,
I think so.
I need to talk to you about it and maybe Alex. I hope he's down for it. But
If you're asking me prospect and who I think they're gonna take, I honestly
no,
don't
no,
know.
no, 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 none of that, none of that. No, I was saying, like, let's have a live show. I'm just saying, bring it up, like a live show during the draft.
So it's gonna
Like,
be live at your house or what?
Yeah, my house. I mean, we could do it at your house, but I mean, I'd rather kick my kid out and then we'll just have a peaceful, quiet night here.
I'm okay with that.
Okay,
The
so
only thing that I don't like about the draft though is that for some reason, like, I understand they make it like longer and they put like it's a 2-day, 3-day, depending on how many rounds they
we're
go.
just doing round 1. We're not gonna do any of the other shit.
But I wish that they would just go. I wish that it would be faster. First of all,
but you gotta
And it's
give
just
time.
like-
You gotta give times for the teams to like think like, hey, now the guy we wanted is taken. Now we gotta rethink our stuff, and so you gotta let them weigh their options.
yes, I'm excited for the trades though. I'm excited to see what they're going to trade up and who's going to trade up.
I'm bringing it to public because we've been texting this. What is with you and wanting like trades? Like, you wanted to start the fantasy league already. You're
So
like,
fantasy league wise,
start the chaos. Start the chaos.
So fantasy league wise, the reason why I think we should have a dynasty league for
Which
the
is
podcast
fine.
and doing it now. Like, if we were going to start it, I would have started it before the draft, after the Super Bowl.
No.
Why? This is why. So all the trades that are being happening, like, you can't tell me you wouldn't trade Devontae Adams or you wouldn't trade him out. Like, there's key plays that you're like, oh, look, like, I would have traded him out or I would have traded for him. But with the draft happening, that messes up a lot of the changes or trades that you do post draft or postseason. So, like, you don't know what's going to affect. Like, what happens if, like, for example, what happens if, and this is a bad team to pick out, but what about the Jags? They have okay players and everything, but let's say they had the running backs, they have 2 good running backs. What if they decide to pick up another stupid running back and then they trade ATN or Robinson? You have that guy, you just traded for that guy right before the draft.
I mean, whatever. But let's not do that before the draft. Like, let's do
You
it
suck.
like. Why would you do that? It makes us. We have no teams already established. You're just going nuts.
Exactly.
Like dead ass, you're just going nuts. Like, but you're insane.
But I'm excited for the draft though to see who's gonna trade up and who's gonna trade down. The reasoning why is because there's a huge class of good wide receivers that are in the draft class. So there's some teams that may need a quarterback, but they have first round picks. There's some teams that need wide receivers or need better offensive lines. And there's a lot of teams that have multiple first round picks. So are they gonna keep those first round picks or are they gonna trade back?
I need to look at the updated draft spots, but I knew the Eagles had 3 and I think they gave up 1. So I think they only have 2 left.
The Saints have a huge ton of them for this one. Kansas has like 2 back to back. So to me, it's like, you know, like
trade.
The fact that they're like there, like I've been listening to different analysts right now saying, for example, in the case of my team, the Bears, hey, we need a wide receiver.
Bears.
But they're saying, you know, that 32, no, we're what, 39, I think?
No.
Or 32nd?
No, you're farther back, I think, unless you traded up.
No, they have a 32nd or a 39th. I don't remember if it's the 32nd or the 39th.
All right, go on with your thought. I'll look it up.
They're saying, what if they just trade away that pick and they get 2 more picks for down the road?
39.
So they could lose that 39 pick and get 2 more picks for down the road. I've seen other scenarios where they're trading Montgomery away for picks. And it's like, damn, how does that affect everything? So like Kansas has 2 picks back to back. Do they need both picks or do they trade away their picks and say, you know what, let me get a better pick. Let me get 2 more picks down the road. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens and which teams that don't have a pick in the first round, if they're willing to trade up and see what they lose.
I want to get Alex on, and I think I want to get maybe one more person, and I like the 3 of us do like a live episode of the day one. I'm not doing the other days for sure, but day one, I definitely think we should hop on together and have a good one. Have some brewskis maybe, and then just see how it goes. I mean, it's gonna be madness. I tell you. You can wear your Bears jersey, even though the Bears probably won't be doing anything that day one since they have no picks.
Unless they decide to do something stupid and draft a tight end, which they always do.
Shit, they might. But you got a new GM now, so we'll see. All right, Art. Anything else you want to bring up, man?
I think you need to have Mike on the podcast whenever he's free to talk about the whole GOAT conversation in basketball. Because I saw a tweet the other day that because LeBron James lost with the Lakers, that he is no longer in contention to be considered the GOAT at all.
He's not.
So I would want to know
what does that matter?
Mike, what Mike thinks about this whole NBA thing and how the.
I want Mike on, but I would have it to debate somebody, not to just to say it. I need him because I'll tell you right now. For anybody who's watching this and wants to debate it, Mike doesn't say LeBron. He kind of made it sound like that's who he goes for.
He doesn't.
Mike believes it's Kobe. Mike believes Kobe Bean Bryant, rest in peace, the late great, is the GOAT. And I'll let him argue that. But if anybody wants to come on and wants to argue with Mike about that, dead ass, let's go. Let's have a debate. I'll host it. Art can be in the background. Whatever you want to do.
I'll just laugh about it.
Exactly. But anywho, Art, I think we're good right now. That's a good recap. We'll probably do another episode in a few days, just to sit around. Fuck it. It's been a while. We need to have poker night. Are you free? We can't play.
You want to play poker over the webcam? I mean, strip poker.
I'll go over your house. I don't trust you. Fucking having cards up and hiding in your sleeve again.
Jesse's probably gonna be like, I thought you said possible, maybe possible, no.
Hey man, let the man feel how he feels. Okay, he's in his game right now, playing games most likely. But anyway, guys, that's all I got. Art, you got any plugs before we head out?
Yeah, y'all can find me on Instagram. I actually did just change my handle, so it's different now. Yep, I changed it.
Oh my god.
So I need to look it up. So
you don't even know.
No, it's A_Ibarra design. So it's a little bit more professional now because I had been looking up on the market for a new job, trying to get better, grow as a person, grow as an individual, grow in my career. So had to change it just in case someone decided to go in and see what I do. So
You don't think they were interested in Beach Bum?
I didn't have my biography on there anymore, so it didn't make sense.
Gotcha.
So changed my handle at A_Ibarra design. If you guys have any questions about architecture or design, or you guys want to do a project at home or something, you guys need some ideas or need something drawn up or sketched up, hey, just hit me up. I'm willing to work with y'all at a cheap price of $0.99 per. Now I'm joking, guys. If you need something, just hit me up. I'll give you my point of view, and if you want to take it, go ahead. If not, no hard feelings.
All right, guys. And of course, you can follow the podcast at Instagram at Puro Pinche Sports. On Twitter, you can follow us at Pinche Sports Pod. And then, guys, might as well, since you brought up your work art. If you guys are interested in any solar or smart home stuff, come talk to me. Okay, I started a new job. Why the fuck not? Save some money. I already saved a couple of people some money. Why not yourself? Fuck CPS if you're in the San Antonio area. Save some money. Get some solar panels. You're not gonna spend shit. You're actually gonna be saving money. So hit me up, DM me, message me if you got my personal number, all the good stuff. But guys, for Arturo Ibarra, I am Jose Garza. We are Puro Pinche Sports, and we are out.
Out.
We're never out on time.